Hey everybody, and welcome back to another board meeting. Today I'm going to go in depth on a game I've talked already about on a previous R&R episode. And that is the solo only game Under Falling Skies. Now, Under Falling Skies, like I said, is a solo only game, and it's very much like the old arcade game Space Invaders. But we're going to talk about a little bit more. When I talked about it previously, that was before I had played the campaign. I'm going to go into the base game and then talk about the campaign a little bit. Let's go down to the table and I'll show you very briefly how the game plays out. Here I have the very base game set up, and it's kind of an awkward board to set up, but you can see here I have my base area, I have my city, and I have this track. And also up here there's this mothership that has these little baby ships on them. Now, in this game, it is a dice placement game, and you are trying to make your way all the way up this research track to the very top to win the game. You can lose a couple different ways. You can either lose if this mothership descends all the way to this skull, or you can lose if this hit track, your health for your base, goes all the way to the skull as well. And how you're going to lose those hit points is when these little ships descend and kind of kamikaze themselves onto your base. And that's a very brief overview of how this game plays, but I'll show you exactly how the dice work in here. So at the beginning of the round, you are going to roll these dice, and then you are going to place each of these dice in one area that's open to you on each column on your base. But when you place a dice onto that base, it actually makes these little mini ships in that column descend that many points, that many rows. So this is a 5, so this would move 5 down the board. And there are a couple different spaces when ships land on them that things will happen. Like this ship landed on an arrow, this would move to this column then. There are these explosion spots, which will be where you can shoot down these ships. There are this mothership board, which will move this mothership down one row. And all of these areas that you're placing these dice will do some sort of effect. There are these energy rooms, which will give you energy, and you'll need energy to activate a lot of these other rooms. There is these research rooms which will help you move up this track, and there is these fighter rooms which will help you shoot down these little ships. So you're going to have to choose. Maybe you want these high numbers in these certain rooms, but maybe you don't want them to be high numbers because those little ships are going to be descending so fast towards you. So you're going to have to choose. You're going to have some hard decisions in this game. You're also going to be trying to excavate down further into your base to unlock these better rooms. They're going to have more stronger abilities for you to play with, basically. And whenever there is one catch, whenever you place one of these white dice, you see there is white and gray. Whenever you place one of these white dice, you have to re-roll the other dice that are left that you have not placed yet. So that will throw a little hitch into your game plan, or it might help you if you need to manipulate dice to get certain numbers. There is a little bit of variability in this base game. You see we have the Roswell City right here. This can be flipped over and it will give you some sort of special ability, but the regular Roswell does not have a special ability. The base game also comes with 2 more cities that will give you different abilities. Also, there's going to be an easier side for you to work with. There is one more base tile in the base game that will switch up your gameplay. These tracks can be flipped over to make a harder version of that track. And you can flip and do this whatever you want. You can set up your game however you would like to. If you want it harder, you can make it harder. If you want it easier, you can make it easier. There is a ton of variability just in this base game before you even get into the campaign. And this game right here, this is what I gave an 8.5 rating to on my previous reviews and ratings when I talked about it. But that was before the campaign. So let's go back up to the top of the table and I'll talk a little bit more about what happens in the campaign of this game. Now, one thing I don't know if I mentioned in that brief overview was that after you have resolved all of those dice, you actually descend that mothership one roll and then resolve one nasty ability that the mothership will have that you won't enjoy very much. But yeah, that's the very base setup without anything from the campaign, and it's got quite a bit of variability just in that. I mean, it's got the 3 cities which are multi-sided. It's got that track that is multi-sided as well. It's got a few different base options. So it's got quite a bit of variability just in that. But that is not anywhere close to what comes in this game. There are 4 different separate chapters that come in this campaign style game. I will say this is kind of spoilers, but I'm not gonna spoil too much of the story because there's not really a story in this game. I'll just show you the very first chapter. There's 4 of these chapters, and it's just one of these comic strips with a couple quotable air bubbles. And then on the back side, it will show you the setup. It will give you different rooms and new effects, and it will get you new cities and stuff like that. So there's not much of a story, but it will send you through this campaign, and it will sort of teach you how to play this game slowly. It will unlock the entire game for you. There is a ton of stuff in this game. One thing it will do, it will add more of these bases. This is more of stuff that comes in the campaign that you'll unlock throughout the game. There are more of these track tiles that it will unlock and give some huge variability, make the game harder, make it easier, whatever you kind of want to do. It will come with a ton of different cities. These are all the more cities that you have, all of them double-sided, all give you unique different abilities. That is a ton of content when the base game itself had a ton of content, in my opinion, a ton of variability. Now it gives you even more. Everything's double-sided, double options. One thing that doesn't come in the base game are these characters that you get to choose from, and those will give you some sort of special abilities. And they're double-sided as well to make an easier or a harder version for yourself. If that wasn't enough, it also comes with all of these different missions, which will make each game unique and special, give you a different setup, give you different rules for that game. So it's just a ton of variability. I don't know if I've ever played a game with this much variability in it. So after you've gone through the campaign, which is anywhere from like a 6-game to a dozen games in the campaign, you can set up the game however you want to after that, with everything unlocked for yourself, and you can make that game as easy as you want or as hard as you want. The base game, without adding any difficulty, it's not hard, but if you flip one of those tiles, it becomes much harder very fast. If you flip 2 tiles, it's even harder. 3 tiles, I don't know if I've beaten a game with 3 tiles flipped. But yeah, it's just a ton of content, a ton of variability in this game. A couple of the cons in this game, there are a couple missing icons in this game that I was scouring the rule books for, that I never ended up finding, but I kind of figured it out through going on BGG and stuff like that. Another thing I didn't really like is the campaign. There's just no story. So, and I'm not really spoiling anything because there's nothing to spoil. The campaign just slowly unlocks more cities, more special abilities, these characters, these specific missions. So yes, the campaign is lackluster, but it's a good way to introduce people to new mechanics of the games. A couple of the pros for this game: it's definitely got a ton of variability, which I've mentioned a lot in this game. It's got good component quality. It is a low complexity, high depth game. It's not that complex of a game at all, but you will get very hard decisions in this game of where you want to place these dice. Do you want to place this dice to get this really good power, but you don't want to move these ships that far down on that track? So it kind of just gives you that, it's low complexity, high depth. Like I said, you're going to be thinking pretty hard in this game. This is a giant puzzle game, which most people know I love these puzzle style games. And that's what this is. It's a puzzle. It's a ever-changing puzzle game with dice. It also it's got this really good rising tension towards the end. The game is usually really close. Every time I've played this game, I'm about to die, or else the mothership's right about to the spot that it descends to win the game. It just good tension throughout and really rising tension at the end, where you're not sure if you're going to win or not most games. So yes, that is my entire review of this game. Like I said, I gave that base game a while back in 8.5, and that was without unlocking any of this other stuff, which is a really good score for me. Does it go up with this campaign with more stuff? It does a little bit. I probably would bump it up to a 9 now. I love this game. This is probably my favorite solo-only game now. I don't think any other game really comes close to what this offers for myself. So if you enjoy puzzle-style games, that ever-changing puzzle, I would highly suggest and recommend Under Falling Skies. And that will be it for this review. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe to see more weekly content from me, Shane, at the board meeting in the future. I hope you all have an amazing day, and take care, everyone.